Hello and welcome to the Shooting Outdoors channel, proudly supported by FMG Gun Shop Dunchurch. So tonight on the table it's JSB's Exact Jumbo Heavy Diablos. Now jumbo tins come in the red and the black, as you can see here, as we saw with the RS pellets, which were actually quite good in the Remington. Bit flighty in the Rotex. But these Exact Jumbo Heavy Diablos, now they're carefully selected, but the interesting thing for me is that 18.13 grains, that's not heavy in my opinion. That's sort of heavy. That's like 3/4 heavy. That's like, you know, the large meal at McDonald's rather than the super size me version, which would be sort of Bisley Magnums, which are sort of up around 20-21 grains I think. They're proper heavyweight. So these are like Jumbo Heavy Express or Jumbo Heavy RS Diablo. These aren't a proper true heavyweight pellet. And I've been really surprised by these, almost knocked off my feet a little bit. You get 500 in tin. As we know, this is a 2.2 review, so expect to see a .22 caliber or 5.5mm. And the good old CZ logo there as well, which I quite like. You know, wife being Polish, she's not Czech, but you know, I quite like the fact that Eastern Europe have this unknown ability to be able to produce, you know, decent airgun sort of equipment. Certainly pellets. JSB are one of my favourites, to be fair. I don't think I've found a tin really that are so dire that I just couldn't use them. Tin itself, like I said, pretty plain looking. You know, they do catch your eye, I think, JSB, but they do that many different colours and all the same kind of design that I just end up sort of glancing over them all. They all kind of merge into one, and you end up thinking, I just can't be bothered to study them, just give me a tin a day, States. But I would certainly have a look at these. On the back of the tin, you got your usual sort of, what's that? It's not Sports Direct sticker label, but you know, the old ticker tape one, just roll it on. Nice and simple. Got a serial number there, and you've got 5.52 as the actual head diameter, which we will see about later on. So, inside the tin, it's a typical pop tin, as always. It is magnetic, so it is a true tin, it's not an aluminium tin. Nice big thick makeup pad. Look at the size of that bad boy. And I am a big fan of makeup pads in the tin, as you know. Just doesn't seem to play on my OCD so much if there's one in there. Inside the tin, everything looks a bit dull and a little bit possibly, you would say, corroded, but I guarantee you they're not. If I just shake them, you can see in the bottom there, what's that? A second makeup pad. Oh, it's like Christmas has come all at once with my birthday and Easter. Well, maybe it's not Easter because I'm not that wild about it, but you get what I mean. You can see there's actually been a little bit more thought about on these. Now, 2 makeup pads may suggest that these are actually a soft pellet, but when I've sectioned them, I've actually found them to be quite hard. They kind of flew off the table when the sectioning tool got through it. So keep that in mind. They are a hard pellet, but that's probably more to do with the fact that they have got a lot of lead in there to make up that extra 2 grains on the other pellets. Now, when I look at these in a bit more detail, there's very little in the way of split line on there. There is one, but it's very unpronounced. You got very little with dinged skirts, although the skirt is quite thin on these. I think it's probably good at this point to actually go into the actual drawing. So what we've got here is a 5.51mm head, but let's go to the other end of the pellet here. I actually find that the tail on these is much broader than what the head is. The other thing is it's got that really thin part just there, look, where you can sort of see. It's kind of like a step really within the skirt itself, and what that does is that's a thinner material, and that just bends a little bit, blows out that first bit more, and on the Springer it just gets things moving a little bit. We saw this with the RS pellets, and the RS were really good in the Springers, and I think these jumbo heavies are probably going to be the same. They're going to start moving that little bit quicker. They're going to be that bit more efficient as they go down the barrel. I'm sort of really keen to jump into the deformation, but I just want to sort of draw your attention now to the actual weight in the pellet. Now look how much lead is in that pellet, how much solid lead you've got in that section. You've got this tiny little 1.98 worth of depth on the bore, and then the rest of that is just lead, and that's where they've managed to do it. Now that to me is very nose heavy. There's not much balancing on there, so I'd be keen to see what effect that has for accuracy on 2.2s. So let's quickly have a look at that skirt in action. So if we see here, we've got one of the ones that I shot into the blue tack. It has sort of turned and twisted as it went in there. Now what I'm going to say for this is, oh my god, how deep did this thing drive into the blue tack at 10 yards? It proper dug itself in there and started trying to get its way out the back of it. Now the blue tack is always at the same thickness generally. It will change it, you know, the odd millimetre, but generally it's always at that same thickness. So we have lost a little bit of the blowout, but what I can see is straight away that the skirt on this little lip here has blown out. It's grabbed hold of the rifle, and you can see that. And the head also has rifling marks all the way around it, but I just can't believe how deep that thing penetrated. For just that extra 2 grains, it is just poof, straight in there. Now the thing is, it's still got quite a bit of velocity. What I tend to find with like the Bisley Magnums is they don't really penetrate at all. They're more of an FAC pellet, to be fair, but they tend to drill in and then still have the backside sticking out of the card. They don't punch through it because you just don't have the speed to. These just seem to, I think, found that little niche where they have enough speed to be able to punch through it, but they've also got the weight, because the way they've drilled in, it's just going to take all that worry out of my head of, you know, not having enough penetration. You know, wow. You can see how excited I am. I'm actually a little bit lost for words there. So that's that. Now also in here, what I've got is a little bit of a quality chart in there, quality tool. Now you have, like I said, I've gone to town a little bit on these ones. I've gone a little bit daft. So let's just quickly now take it over into quality, because this is quite a long pellet at 7.74 mil, the average mean. The head bore itself is quite narrow. It's 5.49 mean. Now I've got the one I've measured is 5.51. It seems to be matching up pretty well with what we're seeing within the 32 sample there. The skirt length itself is also fairly well balanced. It's normal sort of JSB territory, which is 4.03. And then the weight again, 18.18 grains, slightly heavier than advertised as a mean, but still that bit more than what I've currently got with my day states, which is around about the 16 grain, 15.9. So now let's look at the spreads, as we always do. We do things a little bit backwards. 0.05 on the total height, 0.04 on the head bore, 0.17 on the skirt length, 0.52, half a grain. And that's really its major Achilles heel. Now it's just random weighted ones that really throw it way off. I mean, 18.32 there that you can see at the bottom, 18.45. These are the ones, and you got, I think there's an 18.4 something. There's a 4.6. Yeah, it's just these really random heavyweight ones where they've sort of lost control of the head almost. It's when you line them up in the 32 sample, you can kind of see this bloaty head sticking out from a mile away. So I just wanted to quickly show you this little chart here of the actual weight. So the weight column there has then been put into what we call a capability chart. Some of the engineers might be interested, you may be asking questions like, oh, what's a CPK, what's a PPK? I'm not going to get into all that. The PPK is made by Walther in this show. What this chart is to do is just a quick and rough way to show you that if you were to get rid of some of the outliers, these 18.48, these bloaty head ones, what you actually find is your group spread really is 1/3 of a grain. It's 0.33. It's just these extra ones, you've got a split group there. If you lop them off, if you were to line up say 50 of these pellets or 32 of these pellets and remove the other ones and replace them with more suited, less bloated head pellets, I know you're kind of rigging the results there, but if you're going to competition, you could literally line them up, remove the bloaty headed ones, and you would find suddenly that you're down to 1/3 of a grain in spread, which isn't too bad in all honesty. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. So as a quality score then, when we add everything together on them spreads, we end up with a quality score of 0.78, which is, it's quite high to be fair. It kind of lets itself down there, and it's just that 0.52 really that's really killed it. So that's quality out of the way then. If we go into cost now, FMJ, these, if you went there from, they'll be about £13.50p. Don't know why the zero was lopped off there. Countrywaygunshop.co.uk, it was £11.25. They turned out to be the cheapest. And then strangely, the only other place that I could find which was actually a shop that you could go into and buy them was Emmett and Stone. Now, do this on the, I can't obviously go all over the country just looking at pellet prices. Wife would kill me, so I have to do it over the internet. But I always make sure that these sites that I go on, you can actually walk up to a counter and buy over the counter. They're not just mail order, if you know what I mean, and then they offset the price with the delivery on top. So these are actual shops. So these are a little bit of a mixed bag. They're kind of like, one shop's really expensive, one's really cheap, and then the other one is kind of sitting in the middle. There's quite a wide spread on cost here, but either way, the cost comes out at £13.35. If they perform, it's not so far away from the sort of comfort zone. Generally round about sort of £12.50 up to £13 is what I want to pay for a tin of pellets. 13.5 I could quite live with if they do the job. Now we've got to get onto the delivery. Now, delivery of these pellets, again on the 25-yard indoor range, I was surprised that these grouped as tight as what they did. It's just the odd one flyer that really hurts it. And if them one flyers weren't there, then these groups would be something else. I think they'd be up into sort of 177 territory. So again, on the Hawk with ×10 mag, when the RM8, 25 yards indoors. Our lead-in group, 15mm. The first group comes in at 12.5, less than what the lead-in group was. Now, at the time, I can see there's a slight difference, but I can also see there's one flyer there. Centre again on group 2 is 17mm. Just that one little flyer, although on this occasion it didn't actually hurt it. It was the height of the pellet, and again it's that weight almost. Those bloaty head ones, or the heavy pellets, just kind of dropping the distribution a bit lower. Group 3, as you can see, all inside an inch, well inside an inch, 10mm. That's one of the tightest groups I've shot with 2.2 out of this rifle. Gives it a mean of 13.16mm. One of the best scores that we've had. Let's look at the 40-yard range then. Well, 21mm group, well within inside an inch, so very easy to control. They have dropped from my point of aim, but again they are a slightly heavier pellet, so you would expect that to happen. But a split group, again, it's just that sorting of the pellets out that I think you'd have to do with this sort of tin. Although saying that, there's none of them really there that are cause for concern, any of them groups at all. I'll be quite happy using them in windy. I mean, when I shot this 40-yard group, it was actually quite a windy day. I'll tell you when that was shot. That was shot when we were doing the 17722 battles. So we were actually using windage on that very day. And the only reason I decided it was okay to go for it was because I was familiar with the rifle and shooting in the winds that day, so I was able to pick my target very easy. So as you can see, it's held in the wind fairly well. And that was a crosswind. So yeah, I'm more than happy to use these in my RM8 based on that accuracy, if I can justify the cost. So let's go back then. Let's go now and have a look and see how they get on the leaderboard then, because I'd be really wanting these to do well. So looking at the leaderboard then, you can see these are sitting middle of the table with 54 points. Let's just analyse how it actually gets to that point. Now, the 2-2 table's always been really tight, and the one thing that I think would separate these out sort of the men pellets from the boy pellets, so to speak, would be long range capability. For example, Falcon Accuracy Plus at the top there scores 81. It scores the best in accuracy. It scored the best for everything basically, and price. However, what I will say about the Falcons is past sort of 35 yards things get a bit flighty. That would be a little bit of an issue for me, because with a 2.2 on some of the permissions I've got, range is absolutely critical. You need to be able to push it out a little bit further. Penetration would be another one with 2.2 to go into, but I think long range capability is the one really when you watch these reviews and you're trying to work out which is going to be the better pellet for your barrel, or this, that and the other, or you're just keen generally to find out more about it, is look at how the long range capability got on with, and then add that to the competitors around it. So out this group, say, of 81 and 54, I would probably say that the RWS Superfield H&N Trophy was probably the tighter group at range, which would, for me, actually plonk it up there a little bit more. It would really upset the table if I did that. Leave us your comments. Maybe you want me to do that. Maybe I'll have a look at that and I add that in as a factor. But I leave it totally up to you, the viewers, because it's your table, it's your leaderboard at the end of the day. Yes, I create it, but it's up to you to help me manage it and get the best thing. But I honestly think that long range capability is where this is at. The tighter the group at long range, the better the pellet, in my opinion. Let's quickly dissect where it's all gone wrong and it scored that 54 then. So, cost score 13.35. It scores a 2. It falls into that region there. It's okay on quantity, so we end up with a 2 times a 3 there, so we've got 6. And then quality, again, it's in that neither region really, where a lot of the pellets seem to be falling into. There's very little separation coming out on this one, so we've got that 6 times our 3, which brings it into 18. I think that works out, isn't it? Yeah. And then you've got your delivery on top of that, which is, again, it falls into that category there of 10 to 15. It's just a mediocre kind of thing, and that's why I think we need that long range score bringing in there, just to separate out the pellets a little bit and actually make it a score where delivery is king, because it really is about delivery with a 2.2 pellet. The tighter groups that you can get, the better the pellet is, in my opinion, and 2.2 struggles at range to hold on to that. So I think that's something that you need to comment on and let me know what you think. I know it'd be nice to sort of mess around with the columns a little bit, but I still think there are pellets out there that are going to completely destroy some of these and score really, really well, and also hold that long range. Anyway, you've got the opportunity to comment and let me know your feedback. So, and as you know, I always try to listen. But either way, we've got a delivery there, score of 3, which then takes that score up to 54. And then, like I said, it just drops really slap bang into the middle there. Same with the Daystate Rangemaster Sovereigns. And again, even though both of these pellets don't score particularly high in the table, they're both pellets that I would use purely because their long range capabilities and their delivery scores are kind of, they're up there with the best really. They're the two ones that really stand out for me in the whole pellet table, and that's kind of why I'm a little bit annoyed at my own sort of scoring system here. And I think time really needs to come to sort of shake things up and go down and have a look at some of the long range capability scores if we've got them. If not, then we need to do something a little bit different and try and spread them out. But certainly these jumbo heavies, in conclusion, I've got to say, in the RM8 and the R1 at all ranges, they were really, really good. They print the second best groups. They're a nicely balanced pellet, and they don't half hit hard and bury deep. They really do. The only downside with them really is these odd flyers, these bloated head ones, which sort of wander off. But you can visually sort them. It's not like you have to sit there pouring over your pellets. You just line up the ones you want to put in your magazine, or you're going to take out with you. And we're going to have a solution for that very, very soon, where you can take 50 pellets out with you and have them all sorted there and then. So it's a very, very quick and simple way of doing it. Just count out 50, or see how many you want to take out. Just look for the ones with bloated heads, put them back in the tin. But there you go. As always, feel free to comment. Don't troll. Leave us your comments. We really do need to have a look at this, I think. Subscribe to the channel, check out the Facebook page, check out the Instagram bits and bobs that Tom's working on. Should hopefully have a shop going within the next couple of weeks. We're only going to have one product in there for the time being, but it will be something that is very useful. It's branded and it's going to help us. The funds for that, or what we get back off it, will really help us to carry on bringing you something slightly better, because we need to upgrade our equipment. We're still using really basic gear. So that pretty much sums that up really. I'm not going to dwell too much on it. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.